Hi, it's Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go get that claimed, smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. And in this episode, we're going to continue like our little mini masterclass here on principles of optimization. So if you remember from 2 weeks ago, we outlined basically the 4 domains of optimization: self, team, clients, and then business, marketing, and branding. Last week we covered self. So this week in this episode, we're going to cover team, how to optimize your team. Now, why is this so important? Over my entire coaching career of nearly 30 years, I hear often from advisors, man, I've got these people, I've got my staff, I've got my assistant, I've got my juniors, and there's this almost insecurity of am I leading them properly? Are they being as productive as properly? Are they giving us the best P&L opportunity? Are they self-managed? So on and so forth. And so when I come into a business and we start looking at all these areas, like last week we looked at the leader, right, self, and then we start looking at what the people, the team, right? And in our term, we like to use the word chairs. It comes from EOS. It's a great philosophy, by the way, a great tool. So the first thing we want to look at is, hey, who's in the chairs? How do we define the chairs? And then do we have the right person in the chair? How do you determine right person, right chair? There's a couple different ways. One of the ways is to, they talk about in attraction, which is, do they want it? Do they get it? Do they have the bandwidth for it, right? So do they want it? In other words, are they motivated by the duties and responsibilities of that chair, right? Do they want it? Do they have the bandwidth for it? And then are they capable of it? Right? 3 things. So that's one way you can look at it. So very glaring example. So if I've got somebody who's very introverted and I'm making them, and they're really good paperwork and they're really good detailed, but yet they're in a chair that requires a lot of phone, a lot of client interfacing, stuff like that, right? While they can get the work done, they're not going to give the client the right vibe, right? Conversely, I can have somebody who's really bubbly and they're great with people and stuff like that, but then all of a sudden they're not detailed oriented, they're not exacting, they're not neat, and they can't get the other elements done, right? How do you determine that? Here, what I recommend are behavioral assessments. We use something called a trimetric, which measures behavior, values, and EQ in terms of how well they know themselves, how self-aware they are. And we could apply that data to what the chair should be, right? What a lot of advisors do is that they are their own hiring committee. Unless you are an HR professional, if you're a client, you know what I'm going to tell you right now. The worst thing any advisor can do is to go ahead and be their own hiring manager. You're biased, you're going to like people, you want to give people a shot, so on and so forth. You need to bring an outside expert. I work very specifically with a group. They do a great job. I refer my clients to them. They're rock stars. And because I've had clients, and this is a really quick true story. So I have this client, and he's hired 3 assistants in 10 years. They've all sucked. Excuse my language. Not that they're bad people. They were wrong for the position. Why? They interviewed well. They dressed professionally. And so the window dressing was all great. Under the hood, not so good, right? Finally got him to stop the insanity. By the way, just so we're all clear on this, bad hire in this industry, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars of hard cost. Forget all the emotional pain and suffering you're going to have. So it's important that you put the right people in the right chairs. Now, assume you have that done. What's next? Well, if you think about elevation, so I've got something good. How do I make them great? Answer, you invest in them. What does that mean? You want to have a personal and professional development budget and game plan for that chair, for your team member. Next question. Well, Joe, what should it be? Anywhere from 10 to 15% of compensation. So if they're making $100,000, it's $10,000 budget. If they're making $50,000, it's $5,000 budget. Joe, that's a lot of money. Remember, people stay in organizations not just by what they're being compensated for. Those are what we call mercenaries, by the way. You want to be developing your people because that becomes your culture, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay? So you want to have a game plan. You want to look at where you think they need help. You want to look at where they think they need help. Like, for example, we have here in Magellan, in partnership with Matt Sonnen at the COO Society, we do up and coming. So if you have a service person, an assistant, or an ops person, and you're looking to elevate them into a COO chair, we have a training program now for that, right? So they're not learning on the job. You never want your people to learn on the job. Why? It's your job. It's going to cost you. Why do it, right? So, and I don't want to hear, by the way, I pay my people a lot of money. They should know how to do it. That is a very egotistical and arrogant statement, and that means you have blinders on and you're not looking at your business. Okay? What's next? How else do you optimize the team, your people? Hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. There's a massive difference between management and leadership. Okay? Management means that make sure stuff gets done under the threat of firing or under the carrot of bonus. That's what it is, right? Leadership is about aligning the person and their needs and their values and what's important to them, painting a picture of a greater and brighter and bigger future and having them buy into that vision where they see how they help the whole team elevate. We're on a mission together. Here's the mission. Also remember, you have 3 types of people in your organization. People that have jobs, people that want a career, and stakeholders. In a perfect world, we have nothing but stakeholders. Some of my clients have been able to pull that off. And their businesses elevate at a much higher level than the median. Okay? So you can go do that. So what else is the difference? So management is one bucket. Leadership coach is a totally different bucket, or even servant leader if you like. What does that look like? Number 1, there is a vision that the leader has set that all parties have bought into. Number 2, the leader is also the team coach. They sit down proactively, one-on-one, on a regular basis, not to do performance reviews or any of that, but to say, hey, how are things going? How can I help you? What resources do you need? What are you struggling with? Things like that. What most advisors like to do is throw money at problems. Here's a bonus, here's something, whatever. Show them that you care, and not just economically. That's what a leader is about. A leader is about being proactive. You want to have a training and coaching and personal and professional development culture. It's part of your culture. It's not just, something you do. It's incredibly important. What else do you do? KPIs, key performance indicators, and accountability. Now, accountability and KPIs does not mean micromanagement, because that's what a lot of advisors do. They go, oh man, I got it. No. I'm not saying it's that. But here's what I'm going to ask you. Does every person on your team know what their standards are? Does every person on their team know at the end of the day whether or not they had a successful day or not? Did they meet standards? Do they even know what standards are? Okay? That's what we're talking about in terms of KPIs for staff. How fast do we get back to clients in terms of service issues? How quickly do we solve our service issues? Junior advisors, how many reviews, how many outreaches are we doing? How many reviews have we scheduled today? Right? My financial planners, how many plans have we done? How many updates have we done? There's always a way. I've never seen a chair on a team, even reception, by the way. You can always find a way to measure productivity and success. This is about being a real world-class operator. And accountability, by the way, it's not dictatorial, it's collaborative. I know there's some advisors who are dictators, right? That works for a while, but here's what happens. People get tired of the shtick. They get tired of the BS, they get tired of it, and they're going to look for a different culture. I don't care what the compensation is, okay? Last thing for today's conversation. Core values and culture. Look, here's reality. In our world today, there is a lack of talent. I've seen it. Talk to any HR person. Salary requirements are up. It's like, forget inflation, man. It's like we're in a whole different stratosphere with that. Lack of talent. So if you have people that you really covet, you can keep increasing their salary. You can keep giving them bonuses, and you have to anyway. Is that going to guarantee you that they're going to stay and not listen to other offers? The answer is no. What will give you the best opportunity to keep and retain that talent? They love your values. They love your culture because they know what they are. Because you've created them. Conversely, if you're trying to attract talent and there's two offers that are economically similar, so they're looking at what you're doing and a competitor for the same talent, and you have clearly articulated your vision, your mission, your people, there's a vibe there, how you reinvest in your people, there's just a certain feeling, you will always win that battle. So those are just some things I want to share with you today in our episode. Again, a little August mini masterclass here. So if you missed a part, today we talk about team, but if you missed a part, go back and listen to last week. We talked about, you personally, and then go back to the introduction. This is, again, we're going to spend conversely an hour and a half in all these, combined, giving you, some of the best stuff that I have. So I want to thank you for watching and listening to this episode of Magellan Network Show. Happy August. And take action on some of the stuff. It's nice to live. Look, the biggest challenge I have with anything is, intellectual stimulation is great. Learning things is wonderful. But if you don't go deploy it, right? If you don't go make it happen and implement it, it's nice, but it doesn't do anything for you. It just makes you a little bit more smarter, right? And I'll say this respectfully. Being the smartest person in the room is not going to make you the richest person in the room, okay? Thanks. See you all next week. Oh, by the way, we got some offers here. So if you want something, please let us know in terms of joining Magellan Network on a trial. Love to see you come in. Let me add some value to your space that way. And I'll see you all again next week. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game both personally and professionally.